So, you have reached the U Show, and what you see behind me is my piece of art. It's not one of my good ones, but it's one of my most memorable ones. I kind of like it. I did that out in the forest. I used a Chinese brush pen. I don't know what you call them. That's what I'm calling it, a brush. And I did that on rice paper. And that was my piece of art. And then when I got to the base camp, which there was like gravel in front of it, I put that down on the gravel and then I took a photograph. So it's kind of a combination art. It is a very bad calligraphy, which is mine and I'm proud of it. And it is a combination of calligraphy and collage because I put the two pieces together and photography. What can I say? I like to do more than one thing at a time. Some would say that's ambidextrous, but I don't know. So you're watching the U Show. I think we'll put up the disclaimer so we get that over with because I always forget whether I put it up. There's your disclaimer. So that's it. So we'll go back to our screen. What about art? I guess I'm going to take this time to thank all of the artists. That means musicians, singers, artists, calligraphers, watercolor people, people who conduct choirs. Now is a great time. It's a holiday season, and it's a great time to go and hear some music. There was a concert today, actually, that was wonderful. And now is the time to fill yourself with art. Yes, any kind of art, maybe your own art. Do something creative. You know what you should do? It's holiday time, and people go out and buy people presents. Stop. Yeah, you could do that if you want. Go out and buy yourself a present and bring your a present. Oh no, this is not political. This is a comedy, folks. Yeah, well, see, I do one show and I get to the second show. I'm like, okay, you're tongue-tied, don't know what you're saying. But it's still a good show. If you didn't like the last show, tune in next week. Every show is different. So I was talking about presents. Go out and buy yourself a present. Yes, I have the election on my mind. Can't help that. Go out and buy yourself a present that is creative, like some paintbrushes or some easels or some... Do you like to draw comics? Yeah, I was thinking of my family. My son draws. He draws. He's an artist, and he draws comics of all different kinds. I think he made his first comic when he was like, I don't know, 7 years old. And then, like a few years ago, he had an exhibit in Chile, which is kind of cool. A lot of the people I know are artists. And you can be one too. Just go to one of the craft stores and get something and start something. Hey, yeah, all you people are going to protest. Like, don't get all sloppy sign that promotes violence. Get yourself a nice easel or something and canvas and paint yourself something creative. Like, draw the big old globe and write maybe peace in all the different languages all over the globe, and maybe like, let's get together. Let's come together for unity. Let's help the kids at home feel safe. So, what are you doing on the holidays? Staying home? I always say, I'm going to stay home and enjoy it and relax. There are some good things on television. I mean, really good things. I'm going to recommend something to you. If you have internet service, glasses. If you have internet service, I want to recommend some songs, some poetry, some writings. There's one, I want you to look up no. Okay, mispronunciation. Here's his name. Go to YouTube and look up Edgar Albert Guest. The last name is Guest. Gues as in Sam, T as in Tom. Look up Edgar Albert. What's with my words today? Edgar Albert Guest. Look him up on YouTube. He has a few poems he wrote like way back in the, I don't know, the 20s, 30s, 40s. He's an older guy. And today, they're still like reciting his stuff at poetry slams and all. You think you gotta look him up, right? Go look up Billy Gilman's song, and he wrote this song called One Voice, which I really liked. It's One Voice by Billy Gilman. He wrote and sang that song when he was, I think, 14, 15 years old. It's excellent. It's about this kid going home through this neighborhood. It's about all sorts of things. It's about a gun. And it's about one voice being heard. And I think that's why I sit here. For the longest time, I have wanted one voice to be heard. So I used to write. Oh, I'll bet you didn't know it. I got 400 articles written online. Yeah. The bullies are sitting there watching it oh my God, she does a blog, she does video, she does podcasts, and now she's telling me there's 400 articles online. Yeah, she does it. The problem is she's an Aquarius. You just can't tie those Aquarians down, and not those Christian Aquarians. And somebody asked me the other day, am I Jewish? I'm like, I don't answer questions like that. No, it did not insult me. I was not embarrassed. I really don't think I belong to any one particular nation or religion or nationality, but I will confess, you see this backpack? It's a tiger backpack. I carry it because it reminds me of the tiger in front of the J. And if you've ever been to the J, you know what the tiger says. So no, I'm not Jewish. I am if you need a label, try this. I am an old saggy baggy lady who doesn't wear a bra, and I am a Christian Aquarian. Now the Christians would point their finger at me and say that's a contradiction. Yeah, Christians don't agree, I believe, in zodiac, in astrology. But when I say I'm an Aquarian, here's what I mean. It doesn't mean that I believe that the stars are what, make me do things. If I say an Aquarian, anybody who's read an astrology book can say, oh, she's like that. So yeah, I confess, I don't want any labels, but if you must label me anything, label me an Aquarian, and go look it up in Linda Goodman Sign's book. That was written in the 60s, I think. So, now enough of the labels. I am the only label that I can be is I'm a human being. Look at me. I'm a human being, I'm like you, whoever you are, whatever you look like, whatever church or temple you go to, or if you're an atheist, I am just like you. I'm a human being. If I get cut, I bleed. If someone gives me a really, really bad insult, that might hurt for a little, just a little. So I'm just like you. So if you don't like this particular episode of the show, tune in next Saturday at 12:30 to see what I'm talking about next week. Oh, I have a few people lined up and they're going to be guests. It's just a matter of actually arranging the date, and the holidays are coming now, so we haven't arranged the date. But I think I've got 4 or 5 or 6 people that want to come on the show. We're going to have one show that has 2 people, and then another show, there might be 4 people. I know the sign outside says only 4 people in the studio, but that's cool. I can sit the 4 years down here, and I could be outside. So if you don't like the show, tune into the next one. Or go to the YouTube site and look up Email Linda. That's where my YouTube shows are. There's 200-something shows on there, which you're not allowed to see because you're not a subscriber. But you probably can see about 50 of those shows. I think there's about 50. And if you watch those shows, you know that they're different. I've had Rhonda Danae on there singing. I've had country singers. Yes, I used to have a lot of guests. When I started the show in BCAT, I always had guests. I had musical guests and Ed Harris and all. They were fabulous, absolutely fabulous. After I had the car accident, I cut down on the guests a little bit. Well, a lot. I have had Paul Lawrence here playing the guitar and playing the harmonica at once. And heck, I think that's a fabulous feat. I can't even play one of those instruments. So when I see somebody who's got a harmonica in his mouth and he's playing the guitar at the same time and singing, kudos to you, Paul. I think you can see them on YouTube. The shows are also on Vimeo.com. Yeah, you want to get into a little controversy, you might go to that site. You have to find them. So we're on Vimeo.com, YouTube, GodTube. We're on WordPress. And the fun thing is, you can't just sit there and be lazy and just think, well, I'm going to go now and find the shows. you have to write me an email because they're all under different names. It's that way for a reason. So the YouTube name is different from the Vimeo name, is different from the GodTube name. Send me an email and ask where the things are on Pinterest or whatever, and I will gladly send you an email back. So enough about that. We did put the disclaimer on. That's great. The holidays are coming. So, yes, I'm going to celebrate the holidays. I think one of the most important ways to celebrate the holidays is the way you should celebrate every day, which is, for me, my idea. I have to thank God. I am a firm believer in God, very firm believer. I've had like horrible nightmares in my life that were like real. You know, like people say I had a nightmare, like, yeah, I think I had some of those in reality. So all those times, and then I've had good times. But what I find kind of interesting, so a lot of people feel this way, but some don't, is when when the hard times hit me and when the tragedy hits me, I have the same strong faith in God that I have when the good times here. There's a song, it's called, it's something to do with the God of the mountain. That the God of the mountain is the same God of the valleys. Yeah. So the God of during hard times is the same God during easy times or wonderful times. Like, you know, the God that's there when you're in the sewer is the same God that's there when you won the lottery or when a new baby was born. So, and now to be politically correct, I will disclaim that I'm not saying you were in the sewer. I'm saying you can relate to that. It was sort of like an analogy, you know, hard times, bad times, good times. When I was having my head bashed in, when I was being controlled and beaten, and really, that was a hard time. I consider that a hard time. I believed in the very same God, and my faith was strong as a rock. Not my religion. No, I'm not religious. But my faith was just as strong as when I get everything I want, which is very rare, but sometimes I do. But my faith doesn't change. So what that means for me is, whether it's a holiday or an ordinary day, if someone comes over and like punches me in the stomach, I'm still going to believe in God, and I'm not going to blame God, and I'm not going to doubt God, and I'm not going to say, God, why didn't you stop that person? That's not going to happen. Because I know that the God that created me is the God that protects me and the God that gives me exactly what I need, not what I want. And so where was God when I was having my head bashed in? Where was God when somebody was telling me, shut up, be quiet, stop talking? Where was that God? Where was God when somebody tried to silence that little child? He was like standing behind me, or standing next to me. And he was whispering in a voice so low, I couldn't hear it. I really couldn't hear it. But he was probably next to me saying, you know what? Patience, my child. Someday your voice is going to reach 400,000 people. Oh, that was how many subscribers Time Warner had a few years ago. Yeah, they actually said they got 440,000 subscribers. So that does mean that on any given day, if anybody wants to, a lot of people could watch my show. So there was God as somebody was like bashing my head in and telling me, quiet, quiet, you can't say that. You can't talk about that. I was a little kid. And he was saying, patience, patience. Because someday you'll be able to speak. Someday I'm going to give you a microphone. Someday you'll have a show of your own. Yeah, someday. I didn't hear that. But I'll bet he was right at my side saying that. And the reason I bet that is because he knows all things. From the moment that I was born, from before I was born, my God knew exactly what I'd be doing right now today. Right now, he knew I'd be sitting here looking for the water. He knew I'd be sitting here telling you that chicken soup helps my asthma. He knew I would be sitting here saying, I am that same frightened little girl, that skinny bones little girl that was afraid to talk, that was afraid to say anything. I was so scared. When I was a little kid, my grandmother would be with me, and she'd take me into the library, and somebody would look at her and say, like they would look at her kind of funny because they thought she was a little daft because they thought she had a doll. But it wasn't a doll. It was just me. I was just frozen in fear. I wasn't old enough at that point to learn that it was okay. My grandmother would let me be okay. It was okay to move. It was okay to speak. It's okay to be late. It's okay to be a child. I'm that same scared child. Except now when I'm afraid, I don't freeze. Now when I'm afraid, I speak up and shout into the microphone and tell everybody what's on my mind. Not recently, change that. I finally got somebody out of my life. I'm not having contact with them anymore. But sometimes they get kind of antsy and they kind of insist that they want to talk with me. And I don't want to talk with them. I don't want to have any part of them. I really don't want to have any part of them. So, why am I telling you my personal business? It's 12 minutes and 24 seconds. And right now, what I do is I start the show and I kind of like get warmed up and just like blab and do a little chatter. And then around like the middle of the show, I get to what I really want to say to you. Here's what I want to say. I was never allowed to say that I love my dad. I wasn't allowed to say his name. I was never allowed to say that I liked him or that I loved him. That was like, I couldn't talk. So I'm on the mic now, and he can actually hear this because of the mic, but because he's dead. So what I want to tell you is this. There are all kinds of people in this world. A lot of people, they hear about alcoholics and drug addicts, and they hear about, people that hate people and all this. A whole lot of different people in this world, holidays or no holidays. But I'm here to tell you something. If you have an alcoholic in your family, that's okay. Because they can get help and they can change. But there's a difference between a person who's an alcoholic and a person who just owns and has and lives with hatred and bitterness and anger. See, you don't have to be an alcoholic to be a bitter, angry person. So, if you're a kid or a teenager or an adult and you've got an alcoholic in your life, maybe a drug addict, they're getting help, they can get help, that's okay. If it's your dad, you're still going to love them because that's what families do. You're still going to love them because your dad can change. And my dad did change. He was an alcoholic, but he did change. And the one thing that never changed is I always loved him. I may not have always been near him because, long story, but I always loved him. I just never allowed to say it. And that's why I'm like this old and feel the need to say it on a microphone that I always loved my dad. I didn't always agree with him, but I always loved him. So wherever your family is or whatever your family's like or whoever they are, know that there's a difference. If you have a parent who's an alcoholic, there's hope. There's always hope. If you got someone who's just an angry, bitter person full of hate, if you believe in Jesus, there's help for everyone. So I guess there's help for that person too. But know that it's not a stigma if somebody says, well, I was an alcoholic, or I did drink, or I used to drink. That's okay. There's no need for hatred. So what would I tell my father if he was here today? I'd look at him and I'd say, I thank God that you were my father, because you were exactly the person that I needed at exactly the time that you were my father. And I guess I'd say that to him. Because you were one of the people that gave me hope and that let me know that there are good people in this world. So I guess I'd say that to him. And I have 8 minutes and 27 seconds. There's a book called Don't Get Scrooged. So if you're one of those people and you're having like anxiety about spending the holidays with a certain person, go to the bookstore and even browse, get the book and look at it. Go to the libraries and find this book called Don't Get Scrooged. That book is a wonderful book that tells you how to deal with certain people around the holidays. You know those people that like just ruin your holidays or just ruin your birthday, and like you spend time with them and like whatever it is, they just like ruin it because they're angry or bitter or they hate. Get that book, Don't Be Scrooged. Oh, I hope that's the right name of the book. Okay, send me an email and I'll send you the name of the book. I think it was Don't Be Scrooged or Don't Get Scrooged, something like that. Now, there's another book called The Four Agreements, and that'll help you get rid of anxiety also. The Four Agreements will change your life. Seriously, if you take the Four Agreements and you make those agreements, you will have a changed life. That's like almost guaranteed. And that's my opinion, not the staff's opinion. What other books can I recommend? Well, the Book of All Hope, the Hope of Hopes, the Holy Bible. And if you can't read it because you don't understand it, maybe you don't like the King James Version, get a kid's Bible, get a story Bible, get a comic book Bible. That's what I did. I couldn't understand the King James Version, just didn't get that language. So I started with kids' books, and then I went, and I graduated, and every other year I got a different style and a different, and now I can actually read the KJV and understand it, like read it and it flows. One of the things that I read in the Bible is in the book of the Bible, it scares the bejeevers out of everybody. Yeah, it scares the life out of people. The book of Revelations. Say that and they think you're daft. You know, they'll ask you, like, do you believe everything is in the Bible? And the embarrassed Christians will say, I believe everything but Revelations. And the Christians who have to impress people are afraid they might get fired or something. They'll be like, I believe it all except Revelations. The Christians who have seen God move in mysterious ways and wonderful places in their lives will tell you that they believe every word that's in the Bible. Yeah, as it's written. No explanations. No interpretations. No paraphrasings. So there's something in Revelations, and it says, and I'll have to paraphrase it because I'm not a Bible memory person. There's something that says that God will wipe away every tear. And there'll be no more pain and no more suffering and no more crying. And it's basically about that. It's a promise that God gives us. It's a promise that God has given to us, and he wrote it down. It's like today, if you do something in business, you want the contract. And the Bible is the contract that has all the promises. And God has promised someday he will wipe every tear, and there will be no more pain and no suffering. And to me, that's as good a promise as any. Probably the best promise that anybody's ever made me. I didn't open this show thinking I'd talk about the Bible, so I have to remember some people going like, oh, you did the Billy Graham thing there, and I'm talking about the Bible again. So let's change topics. Here's a song. Oh, music. Music can pick you up or bring you down. There's a song called, look it up on YouTube. It's called Blessings, Blessings. You will cry. You'll cry tears of joy. You'll cry in relation to what you hear on the song. The singer is called Laura Story, and she sings a song called Blessings. Look it on YouTube. Maybe I'll play it one day here. There's another song, which is not a holiday song, but you know, it's a song I've listened to for years, and I love it. And the singer is Joan, I don't know if I could spell it right, Joan Armatrading. A-R-M-A-T as in Tom, R-A-D-I-N-G, Joan Armatrading. And the song is called In These Times. In These Times. You could probably see her sing it on YouTube. If you have a faint heart, or if you don't want to get more depressed, don't get the one that has the pictures. But I love that one. It's beautiful. But where she goes through history and goes through historical times, and she sings a song In These Times. It's a wonderful song. But now for the Song of Hope. This is the one you've been waiting for. And the guy's name he's one of those Bob Hope, classical popular singers. And the song is called, this is for you, for the holidays, for whether the holidays are coming or gone. The song is God Will Make a Way. So that thing that you're worried about and that thing that you're scared about, it's going to be okay. Because God will make a way. The singer is Don Moen, M-O-E-N. And the song is God Will Make a Way. Look it up. And if you're ever kind of feeling hopeless, just press the button and listen to the words of that song. I was listening to a song on the way over, and it was like, be on the sunny side. And that's what's been carrying me through these days. It's been kind of cold. And it's like, so sometimes you might hear me. You might hear my radio. It's like, I forget the tune. Be on the sunny side of life. Always be on the sunny side of life. In other words, stop being bitter and stop being angry and stop bugging yourself over something that happened 50, 60, 70 years ago. Always look on the bright side of life, as Monty Python said. The sunny side of life. And when I get my CD player, I think I'm going to play that song because I like it. And now, if you're going to be with somebody honorable, ornery? No, not honorable. If you're going to be with somebody honorable, you probably don't need this. If you're going to be with someone ornery.
This is my last word. No!
No.
No!
No.
N-O, no. No means no. No, 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 no.
So I have a minute left, and I have some viewers that are sitting there looking at me going like, I can't believe that woman is on television, and I can't believe they give her 29 minutes to do that. Yep. You heard it. You saw it. They did. They do. What's it to you? The name of the show is You Information Show. Yeah, You Information Show. Oh, the email. Write to us at theyoushow@outlook.com. Theyoushow@outlook.com. Hey, if you want to see us on Pinterest, which is a really cool Pinterest board. Should I say the name? Nah, it's only 20 seconds left. I can't say the name. We got Pinterest, we got Vimeo, we got YouTube, we got GodSoup, we got WordPress, we got, there's a couple of other ones. And 400 articles written for a magazine online. Hey, some of them are pretty good. We got articles about television production, about what it's like to be a TV producer. We got articles about health and medicine. I got articles in there. Uh-oh, time's up. Show's ended. Bye. That's a wrap.